everybody out there in LinkedIn land. It's Emily Crookston and Susan Steele.
All right.
We are here. We're doing something a little fun. We're going to do a book review of Atomic Habits. So on one of my posts, I had quoted James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, and someone said, oh, well, will you do a full review of the book? And I thought immediately of Susan, because Susan did a review of the book in December. And I thought, oh, I don't want to do a review. She already did it. But then I thought, wait, we could do it together, and this might be really fun. And we could, share what we thought was great about the book, what we were questioning about the book, and how we're using the tips in it, because we both really liked this book and enjoyed it. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to have a little chat, and it's mostly simultaneous, or mostly what's the word I'm thinking of? Mostly spontaneous, but we're just going to see where it goes and enjoy it. And we're thinking about doing this about once a month, and we're thinking about doing it on the last Wednesday of the month. So here we are. Awesome. Yeah, me too. So do we want to talk about like a little summary of the book for people who haven't read it?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Which of us is going to do that?
Good question. Yeah, so I would say just a really simple summary. James Clear gives us guidance for building good habits and breaking bad ones, basically. And he goes into the science of habit formation a little bit in the book, but it's mainly about, ways to make habit formation easier. Right?
Yeah.
And it's called Atomic Habits because we're talking about small changes you can make and the easiest changes you can make. And what I really love is how he talks about you can really build on these tiny habits to really create a sort of system of habit formation for yourself.
Yeah, I really like the idea of systems instead of goals. And he goes into quite a bit about, sort of the downside of goals that, you say you want to reach a goal. And I know you've run a couple marathons. So, I mean, that's a goal. And, he talks about the fact that, you've got this maybe somewhat indistinct process for getting to that goal. And then you reach the goal. And then what happens after the goal? You've reached it. What does that mean? And he kind of talks about, you could feel frustrated kind of getting to that point. And then there's the kind of disappointment after it's done. It's like, okay, now what? So the idea of creating a system, it's running consistently every day. It's not just getting up to this one thing. When you think about it that way, it kind of makes a big shift in your thinking.
Yes, I love that too. I've really moved away from thinking about goals since reading this book, and for other reasons. I've been thinking a lot more about commitments, and it goes along with the idea of creating these systems. What is the thing that I know I can stick to? and that's, obviously you're going to go with something small, like for LinkedIn, my consistent thing is posting, showing up every day, Monday through Friday. And it doesn't matter what the post is. I don't put any pressure on myself. Maybe it's a quote, maybe it's a promotion, right? The easiest thing I can do. But the consistency is what sticks. And you're right that can be the building block of a system, a social media system, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm the same way. It's like on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn at least once a day, because I think there's that consistency. And I think one of the things he said that, let me see if I can find that in my notes. I'm just taking a quick look at them, is we tend to, you and I have talked about this. You've got this thing, you want to do it every day, and then you fall off and you're like, okay, crap, I'm off my schedule.
Right.
Why am I doing this? It's not working. And at one point he says that it's not, hold on, let me find this because this was good. It's like we tend to have an all or nothing approach. So the problem isn't necessarily skipping. It's thinking that we have to be perfect to make it worthwhile.
Yes.
Yeah, this idea that, okay, if you miss a day, get back on schedule as soon as you can, but don't make it into the end of the world.
Yes, that's a really good one. Yeah, so we talked about, training for the marathon. And if you think to yourself, I have to run 20 miles every week to train for this marathon, or, I have to run 5 miles and 10 miles and 20 miles.
Yeah.
That's a great way to set yourself up for failure, because if you don't do your 5 miles the first week, now you feel like, I've already messed everything up. Right. And I think so. What James Clear would say is, think smaller, first of all. Say the first week, my plan is I'm going to run every day. And maybe it's a mile, maybe it's half a mile, right? Whatever it is, you're going to put your shoes on. Right? I think he even says that, right? The first week, I'm just going to put my running shoes on. That's the goal. But because then, if you think in terms of those small wins, then it's less likely to be, like you're saying, an all or nothing thing.
Yeah. And I think it was in the book, I was taking a look through it, and he talked about someone who wanted to get into the habit of going to the gym every day. Right. Well, at first, what he would do is get up, get dressed, go to the gym. He might only stay there for 5 minutes, but he got himself up, he got himself dressed, he got himself to the gym. And then it's like you do a little bit more. Okay, Then you say, all right, I'm going to exercise for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And then once that's down, then you move to the next. So this idea of kind of like you said, starting really small, adding a little bit more when you've got that habit down and you don't even think about it anymore. I think for a lot of us, that sounds like a lot of work. Like that little bit at a time. And I think that's kind of against what we want to do. At least it is for me. I know, like, if I'm going to start something new, I'm starting everything new. I'm going to change everything all at once.
Yeah.
And this book helps me realize that maybe that's not the right way to do it.
Not the best approach. Yeah. I think that's right. I do the same thing. I'm going to write a book. So that means I need to write 500 words every single day. And if I miss a day, then I'm a failure or whatever. The other thing I've been implementing from this book a lot recently is this idea of, if you skip a day on your habits, then get right back into it. Like, it's okay to skip one day, but don't skip more than that. Because that's when it becomes that's when you're sort of forming a new bad habit, right? Yeah. You're starting a new streak and it's not in the right direction. So that one has been really, really helpful and useful for me too.
And I think it's good to give yourself a little bit of a break, because there are going to be times where it's completely out of your control. A family situation comes up, you have to leave your desk. It could be anything. So I think being just kind of gentle with yourself and not beating yourself up, which is what I would typically do. Things happen, but just get back on your schedule as soon as you can and take it from there.
Yeah. Yes, that's great. Yeah. What I really love about this book is that there are so many little tidbits that you can just pop a page open, read a couple of things, and grab a little things for yourself. I really like he has charts at the end of every chapter that summarize everything. Those are so useful and so helpful.
Yeah, so, and lots of stories, his own experiences or people he's talked to, that really make the concepts that he's talking about very easy to understand.
Yes, totally right. Yeah.
He also talks a lot, which I really liked, especially at the beginning of the book, is habits go to our core identity.
Yes.
And he gave the example of someone who has stopped smoking, and someone says, "Hey, do you want a cigarette?" And instead of saying, "I don't smoke anymore," you say, "I am not a smoker." And that little shift of turning it into your identity, like, I am a woman who, not I don't do this, but I am a woman who, or I am a man who. And that really, again, it's a tiny little thing, but when you look at it that way, it kind of changes everything.
Yeah, it totally does. I like that one as well, because when I'm thinking about writing my book, I would say, I'm trying to write a book, or I'm thinking about writing a book. But now, no, you've got to say, I'm an author. Yeah. I'm an author, right? And it's almost like the Amy Cuddy thing, I think it is. You fake it until you become it. It's you're telling yourself and the world, I'm identifying as this kind of person. Yeah. And that from there, the actions will follow. Yeah. I really liked all of that, that concept as well.
Yeah. He really gives a lot of stuff, especially at the beginning of the book, about why habits are important, and, kind of the building blocks and who you need to be as a person to be able to create good habits. And which I also really liked is he goes into a fair amount of depth in breaking bad habits, which I think is almost as equally as important as starting good ones. You know, he breaks habits down into these 4 pieces. So he kind of goes through and talks about, like, here's how you build a good one using these 4 pieces, and here's how you break a bad one using those same 4 pieces.
Yes, both sides of the coin, really helpful and really important. Yeah, I thought that was great. Another thing I really liked was the 2-minute rule. And I think this kind of fits with everything we've been talking about. So the 2-minute rule is, so you want to start a habit, and the thing to do is find the one thing you can do that takes less than 2 minutes. Yeah. That's going to be your building block. That's your starting. That's your atomic habit, right? That's where you want to start. So that's putting on the running shoes or whatever, right? Going to the gym. Yeah. So many great little tidbits in this book. I really liked it.
So many.
Yes, right. Should we talk a little bit about dislikes? Since we've been going really strong with the likes.
Yeah, because I know you had a couple of things that you disliked a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say out front, I don't really have big dislikes of the book. I think the book is great. I would highly recommend it.
Yeah.
But I will say that I think that reading the book, I had this sense that, oh, it's so simple to create a good habit. What's wrong with me that I can't do it? Why don't I stick to my habits?
Yeah.
So I wonder, when I'm reading, I'm wondering if there's a little bit of a myth being perpetrated about how easy all of this is. So, that's kind of my criticism. And I think what James Clear would say about that is, well, it's simple. It's not easy. Right.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. But I think, I didn't think that when I was reading through the book necessarily, but I definitely see how there could be a lot of deep stuff behind why you do a particular habit or why you don't do a particular habit. Yeah. And I don't think he goes into a ton of depth about that. I mean, these could be things from your childhood that you're not even conscious of, that kind of are part of your identity and your behavior. You may not even know where those come from. And I don't think he really dives into it to quite that level.
No, definitely. Yeah. And I think it's definitely focused on the practical stuff. It's definitely, focused on how you can do this and here's what you do step by step. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that was the missing kind of piece for me where, but what if I follow all these rules and I'm still finding myself self-sabotaging or finding myself not hitting these habits or going back to a bad habit even. I don't think he talks very much about what happens if you regress, which is an interesting question. So that piece was I would say missing from the book. But
But I think overall it's really actionable information, which is what I like in a book like this. If you're reading a personal development or business book, you want to get to the action part. And, I think you said that you could pick up this book and really kind of flip to any chapter or scroll through, and you're going to find something that you can actually understand pretty quickly and take some action on.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, that was great. I think we covered it. Anything that we missed that we should talk about?
I don't think so. I think it's just, giving yourself that little bit of grace when you fall off, because we're all going to do that. We're all human. We all have things we have to deal with. So practice consistently, but be kind to yourself too.
Yeah. Always a good thing to remember.
Yeah. Definitely.
Cool.
This was fun.
Yeah, this is great. So Atomic Habits, great book. We liked it. Read it. I shied away from reading it for a really long time because I usually, when things are hyped up, I'm like,
I did the same thing, actually. I had read another book about habits, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. I read that a couple of years ago.
I think I read that too.
It's good. That actually, I think, does go into the neuroscience a lot more than James Clear does. So if that's what you're looking for, that would be a good book. I do think, however, this one's a bit more actionable.
Yeah, good tip. Yeah, James Clear even mentions that the Duhigg stuff, right?
Oh yeah, I think
he mentioned the cueing and the craving, the 4 steps to building a habit or whatever it is. So he does bring that up. But yeah, that's a good point. That's a good book for if you want to dig more into the psychology behind all of this. Yeah, good point. Yeah, cool. Yeah, well, so there we go. We've had fun reviewing this book. Like we said, we're thinking about doing this once a month on the last Wednesday of every month around this time. So our next book, if you're curious, is Playing Big, right, by Tara Moore. So this is a book I read a few years ago, so I'm looking forward to revisiting it. And I think it's another one that is a great, personal development type book, great for business owners, especially too. Really good one. So if you want to join us again, we'll see you in about a month. And we should plug ourselves.
You go first. Do you know what you're going to say?
No. I am a ghostwriter, if you don't know me. I have a series called Own Your Expertise interview series, which I run pretty regularly on LinkedIn about once a week. So you can check me out there. I also have a writer profile quiz that you can check out on my website, which is thepocketphd.com. And you can always find me on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Great post on LinkedIn.
Thank you.
I am a coach for women who want to be better self-directed learners. So I help women set up systems so you can get your learning done in a really productive way to make sure that you're actually implementing all the stuff that you're learning. I have a curated newsletter called the Level Up List. It goes out once a week on Thursday with bite-sized chunks for women who like to learn. I talk about podcasts, books, courses, all kinds of things, personal development and business. It goes out the Thursday afternoon each week. I'm actually featuring even one of Emily's posts in the one that goes out tomorrow because it was a great blog post of hers. So we'll leave a link below for you to sign up to that as well.
Awesome. Yes, your post was about your Level Up list today too, right, on LinkedIn? Yeah. So people can find it there.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes, this is wonderful. Yes, I'm looking forward to the Level Up list. Always do. I think it's such a great curated list and so fun.
It's really fun to put together. So and if anyone's watching and there's anything you'd like to see covered there or covered in Emily's blog, drop some comments below and we'll take a look.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much, Susan.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad we're doing this.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.